Joining me today is a patent lawyer who I already knew, sort of, and he already knew me, sort of, and all this came to light as we continued our conversation. We talked about how patents and copyrights pertain to the board game industry and games in general, and all the usual stuff. Thanks for listening. All right, welcome back to Lunch and Board Game. I'm your host, Adam Collins, and joining me today is a patent lawyer, Kirk Damman. And Kirk, we met at a cohort that I was doing at my university, and when I walked in and I saw your name, I'm like, I know this guy. I've read something that you wrote. And so you wrote this article for for Landslide, called Meeting of the Minds: Emerging Challenges in Tabletop Gaming, Player Modifications, Third-Party Parts, and Disruptive Technology. And I was so excited to listen to you talk, even though it had nothing to do about board gaming. So Kirk, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. So yeah, that article's from a while ago. So I was kind of impressed when you actually commented about it, that you remembered it and knew it as to what it was. But yeah, there's not many articles that are, lawyers writing about board games. So,
well, I was so shocked. As I walked in and I saw your name up on the display, I'm like, I know that name. And I was like, why do I know that name? And it's, because I was actually had you on my list of people to reach out to, because I am working on a book about IP and board gaming and kind of the history of it and how it's kind of evolved over the last 100 years. And it was just funny because I've got so many articles that I found over time. And then there you are in my class teaching about patent law.
Yep, yeah, basic IP intro, talking through it, having nothing to do with board gaming at all,
Not a bit.
Of course, it was also the thing when I found out who you were and I realized I'd actually kickstarted one of your games without realizing it.
Man, talk about a small world. It was so funny because, you're like, oh, yeah, wait, you did fences. And I'm like, yes, I did. What a small world we live in. So, patent lawyer by day, board gamer by night. You have your own podcast too, right?
Yep, I have a podcast with one of my partners here. It's called Lawyer's Guide to the Galaxy. And we basically are two lawyers talking about geek topics, which ranges anything from where we do talk about law. So we'll actually talk about Pokemon patents, teaching yourself trade dress law by watching the Rogue One trailer, who owns the Klingon language, stuff like that, all the way to, do we actually like Mandalorian versus Grogu or not?
So it is interesting. The Pokemon, was it a copyright or a patent? What did they just get? They got a patent. And it's, when you had it in class, I had just glanced over an article about it, but it's actually kind of funny because they have to be very specific and explicit about what is and is not included in their patent. And their patent is like something about throwing a ball to catch an animal or something.
Yeah, so it's actually, we have, believe it or not, we have 3 episodes on it because it turned out to be so popular. So the first one we did, we actually went through and said, it wasn't so much the Pokemon patent that we were talking about. It was the media coverage of it and how all these people were like, oh, this is what it covers. And we're going through and saying, it has nothing to do with what you guys are talking about. And so that was a lot of what we did around that first episode. And then it proved really, really popular. It's still one of our most popular episodes. So we ended up doing one where we actually did a little bit of analysis of it. And then we actually did stuff about, could you actually invalidate this really readily? Like what's out there for art and stuff like that. And it's because of the fact that it's narrower than a lot of people think it is. It's one of those things where it's like, hey, this is different than what the media is making it out to be. They're basically like, oh, it's fighting with pets. And we're like, no, it's specifically about throwing a ball and, in a digital world and who the target of the ball selects based upon what they're doing. It's fairly specific.
Oh yeah. Well, you brought it up and you pulled part of it up in class and it was like the most, first of all, congratulations on being a lawyer. I don't know how you can read through all that stuff. It's, as I like to say, dry as toast. But it was hysterical because even the little drawings that they had in there and what a crazy thing to go back and try to get a patent on now. Pokemon's been out for 30 years or 25 years, what they're celebrating. Now they're getting a patent.
Well, again, it's specific to the idea of how the avatars basically figure out what to fight. That's kind of the way that they did it with it. And so it's this really fairly specific thing. And that's what we were really commenting about, is that you're really listening to these media stories that are like, oh, it's about combat with pets. And we're like, well, no, not really. It's this specific element. And being a patent lawyer, it's one of those, and I work in the game industry every so often. I've done patents in video games. I've done patents in board games. And so it's one of those where, you really get very focused on like, what do the claims mean? What's a patent have? And you bump into these things where a lot of people, when they're trying to review, patents in these, they just look at like the abstract and they're like, oh, it covers this massive like world of stuff. How could it possibly do that? But the abstract is literally an abstract that has no legal meaning. The legal meaning is the claims in the end, but nobody ever wants to read the claims because they're this just atrocious legalese. And so when you're an attorney and you look at it and you're like, no, that's not what it covers at all. This is what it talks about, because we're writing those, we're dealing with those. That's what we're always thinking.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm in the middle of getting our logo trademarked, which is different than a patent and different than a copyright. I did a lot of my own little research on that too, but it's like you can have the trademark. Mine's kind of more like, I don't want to say it's trade dress, but it's like I can't copyright or get a trademark on the word bearded or board or games, and I'm like, not trying to get them in that order with this picture. And they're like, well, that you can do. But I'm like, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to patent or trademark the word bearded or board or games. I did not create any of those.
It's funny because you actually did it. Like you, in the course of just that conversation, you got copyright, trademark, and patent mixed up. And that's what I want to sort of like pick on people about in conjunction with it. I actually had one where I posted on LinkedIn where we had a news report in a about 300 word article. They talked about the copyright issues around a trademark dispute with a patent attorney, not realizing those were three completely different areas of law.
Yeah. Yeah, see, and I'm like, I'm not trying to do any of that. I just want my logo so that I can say that this is my logo and I'm the only one that can use it. That's all I want. So I got to clear up a few little things about that before I can be officially granted it. And then I wanted to talk to you. Can I trademark my tagline, board games build bridges? Is that trademarkable?
So yeah, basically it's what it is when you're talking about trademarks. A trademark is anything that's a signifier of essentially province. So the idea is it's a trademark, something that's going to indicate who it is that's providing the good or service, which is indicated under the trademark. So there's a huge number of things you can actually trademark, anywhere from what people think of as words or logos, as you're sort of talking about. The ones I always pick up with, there's lots of them we're really familiar with. We all know what Budweiser is. We all know what Coca-Cola is. We all recognize the Chevrolet bow tie. There's things along those lines that are just really easy, but there are a lot of trademarks that aren't necessarily these sort of specific, elements people think of. So the examples like ones I use in presentations, there's a trademark around the shape of a Pizza Hut. There's a trademark around Tiffany's little blue box. There's those kind of things out there because they're source identifiers. They signify exactly who it is. So when you talk about slogans, the thing you get into is, does it actually identify who it is, or is it more just marketing copy? That's what it usually comes down to. And the one I always like to pick on, which if I remember rightly, isn't a registered trademark. It may be now, but I know at the time I started doing the presentations, it wasn't. It was Breakfast of Champions, which we all know what that is. And so arguably that's a source identifier, but they never actually filed for the official registration for it. It was always just indicated as a service mark claim of common law rights. And so that's the thing that you have, that you sort of bump into these things in trademarks is, does it have a source identifier? Is it something that identifies the source? And if it does, it can be anything can be a trademark. To even go to the extremes, you can get trademarks in colors. John Deere green is a trademark. Coca-Cola red's a trademark.
Didn't you say that you can trademark scents?
Yeah, you can even trademark scents.
Yankee Candle or whatever.
The one that I remember with it was and again, I don't know what the status of it currently is, but I used to always remember was a good one, was the scent of Victoria's Secret's perfume. That was actually a specific one that they had. Perfume scents, I think, are one of the ones that's commonly done. Around those, it's an area that there's so few of them that it's, even as doing trademark work, which I do mostly patent work, but I also do some trademark work. Even when you do trademark work, you just never encounter them. I did try to do a trademark for a color. At one point in time, we were saying they found that it was not a source identifier for us. We still thought it was, but they said because it was the color our product naturally was, we couldn't get it. It had to do with our product was a specific anodized metal, and because of the fact that we anodized the metal and the way we did it, it made it a particular color. And they said we didn't choose the color; it was because of the metal we used. And that was somewhat
the
accurate.
color chose you.
Yeah, so to speak.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, didn't who would have been Hans M. Glick? They tried to go back and copyright or trademark the word meeple.
Yeah, I believe that was a trademark they tried to do. I mean, there's a bunch of them out there that are sort of flying around. And the problem with it is a lot of these terms become generic.
I'm like, exactly. If you were going to claim meeple, you should have claimed it back in the early 2000s when you coined it. Because you're not going to be able to go back. That cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, well, and even if they had trademarked it, if it becomes generic, you still can lose it. So there's a number of trademarks that became generic. I mean, the most famous ones that are sort of out there, people usually know, are escalator and elevator.
Yeah.
The Otis Elevator Company, coined the word elevator, but everybody calls it elevator now. And the famous one is the escalator moving walkway, which nobody calls a moving walkway. It's an escalator.
It's just an escalator.
And by far the most famous one is aspirin, which most people don't realize aspirin was a trademark of Bayer Pharmaceuticals. But everybody calls it aspirin now. And so it's, they no longer have any trademark rights in it. But yeah, it's a term commonly referred to as genericide.
Isn't that what happened to Band-Aid and Kleenex?
There's a lot of them that have come close, and it sort of hasn't. And Kleenex is a good one. I think I gave it in the class. The one I always love using is Xerox, who actively fought against it. And again, I'm a child of the 80s. And so it's one of those where, I remember when sort of the Xerox machines first came out, and everybody used to say, go make a Xerox of this. They didn't say make a photocopy. They say make a Xerox of it. And there was real worry that Xerox was going to become a generic trademark. I found this sort of afterwards. And they did a whole ad campaign that I always thought was really cool. And the ad campaign has the sort of boss in the room yelling at the subordinate who he's clearly upset with. And the subordinate's like, I don't know what I did wrong. And in the end, what it has is the subordinate ends up looking at the boss as the camera's panning back. And he's like, you told me to get 10 Xeroxes. And it pans back and there's 10 Xerox machines sitting around him. It was a play off of the fact of, make 10 Xeroxes of this document. And I always looked at it and said, I'm positive. I have no proof of it, but I'm positive that the reason they did that ad campaign was to fight against genericide. And it's a brilliant example of it. And nobody calls them Xeroxes anymore. It's all photocopiers and photocopies. It worked incredibly well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You say go make a copy of this now. Yeah. Oh man. Well, I did. I printed off a copy of your article this morning.
So long as that's not copyright infringement.
Nope, I don't think so.
I think that one's actually, it's either public domain or it's licensed for various use by the ABA. It's an ABA journal, so American Bar Association journal.
No, it's fantastic. And what I really liked about it was that, the challenge of third-party parts. And you wrote this back in it's March, April of 2015. So this article is over a decade old. And so what's crazy?
I have it in my office just so you can't see the video, but I'm holding up the actual copy of the thing that it came out in.
Oh man, I'll see if I can find the cover of that and put it in the show notes. But what's interesting is, it's all about modding and what's legal and not legal. And one of my favorite lines in it is, it's just funny because it's like, these problems become all the more real as the age of affordable consumer-grade 3D printers draws nearer. That was 10 years ago, and now everybody has a 3D printer, which has given a rise to a whole bunch of new problems I'm sure in the patent copyright law field, because I remember working with the guy or seeing, you go to these conventions or whatever, and you see people who've 3D printed off Bulbasaur and all these Pokemon things. It's there's no way you have the right to print that off. There's no way Pokemon has granted you the privilege of being able to print off a Bulbasaur and then sell it.
There's so many things out there where it's you get people who sort of there's sort of I guess to say folk knowledge about what you can and can't do. And a lot of times what you can legally do and what you can get away with because nobody's going to actually enforce it are treated as the same things. And they're very much not. And that's there's a lot of copyright infringement that occurs on a regular basis, trademark infringement that occurs on a regular basis that just nobody catches. Or if it's just never seen, or people just consumer effects don't care. It's not worth enforcing against it. That doesn't mean you can do it. And the problem is when you then get, oh, I'm going to turn this into a business model, that makes people much more likely to care. And that's the thing that you bump into is all of a sudden it's, oh, I can make these things and I can sell them at, craft fairs and nobody's going to have any kind of issues. And then it's, oh, wait, I can sell them on Etsy and nobody really cares. Oh, wait, I can turn this into a business and have a web store and suddenly somebody cares. And it's, well, why can't, what's changed? And the answer is nothing. It's always been copyright infringement.
What's changed? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. You've been in the wrong the whole time. Well, it's like, it goes back. I used to do taxes for years. And then when people would tell me, well, I deduct this on my taxes. I'm like, well, that's not legal. Well, I do it. And I go, great. But when you get caught, it's still illegal. It's like, when I drove to work this morning, did I drive the speed limit? Probably not. I probably sped a little bit on the way to the office. Did I get caught? No. But does that mean all of a sudden it's legal to drive, over the speed limit? No, you just haven't been caught doing it. So it is funny. But I did like how the article kind of broke down, like, this, of course, like I said, is like 10 years ago. Like, man, think about where that has gone now. Like we were saying, like Thingiverse and they have 3D prints for all kinds of stuff that I'm sure, but they're all free to download. They're free to print off all you want, but you start bringing money into it and all of a sudden,
Well, and actually one of the frontiers arguably right now in conjunction with sort of the 3D printing stuff, and in some sense, third-party stuff is in miniature wargaming. Yes. Because there's a lot of question around and one of the things that's being fought right now, and Games Workshop is fighting one of the third-party manufacturers of miniatures out there. Unfortunately, the suit's in Italy, so we're not going to see anything about U.S. patent law. It's taking place under European patent law. But the idea where they're producing miniatures which show nothing like what the miniatures are that they're basically proxies for. They're complete reimaginations and reinterpretations. No question they're original sculpts, but they're designed to be the same thing in the game. And so you bump into this question that basically is that somehow a copyright or trademark infringement to make these kind of things? And that's in court right now. I mean, they're in the preliminaries as to what it's going to be. I don't know if it'll ever make it to a trial, but it's one I'm actually following because I'm a tabletop war gamer for myself, but I find it fascinating, of sort of what's going on around this and basically where does this line lie? Because we really don't know. That's the answer. We really don't know. And so, it's going to be an interesting case to see where it goes. I tend to, I have my own opinions of where it should lie, and stuff like that, around it and, and things on those lines. But there's a lot of issues like that where you're seeing that kind of stuff where all of a sudden, because third parties can manufacture this stuff at scale because of mass 3D printing this wasn't available previously.
Well, and I see it also in, box organizers for board games.
Yeah.
They can't list it as a box organizer for game X. They have to say this is a settling of an island sorter. And because that was one of them I saw that just made me laugh so hard was for Agricola, and it was like some bizarre description of Agricola, and I'm like, what game is this supposed to be for? But because a lot of those are not officially licensed by the company, they can't list the names. And it's been Folded Space. That's the company now that's like kind of taken over that part of the industry. And I love box organizers because it allows me to buy more games and store them in fewer boxes and keep my footprint of shelves the same.
Yeah, and that's actually one of those things where you're seeing the stuff like that. That's a classic sort of trademark issue of is the way you're using it functioning as a source identifier, or is it functioning as an identifier of what else is out there? So that's the one that always gets commented about it is you can't say that they're Lambo doors, but you can say that they're doors that rotate upward that fit a Corvette. And that's the kind of thing, so because Lambo doors is a trademark. I mean, I'm using Lamborghini as a trademark.
Sure.
And so, it's that kind of thing where it's, if you say they're Lamborghini doors, well, then they should be made by Lamborghini, right? You mean they're doors made by Lamborghini, not doors which, open up in the way that a Lamborghini's doors do. And so those are great examples of like things where, you bump into it as it's how are you using it? What are you saying? And you do get a lot of the kind of strange ones that are, they have sort of, you don't quite know exactly where it's going to go and what people are going to say, and stuff like that around it to try to dodge them. And I mean, a lot of times I'm not even sure they really are dodging it because it's so obvious what this thing's supposed to be that, again, is it really sundry to source identifier? Maybe, but what you really bump into is, do you really think that's an officially licensed product? And ultimately, that's the question of source identifiers. Do you really think it's an officially licensed product? Would you be confused? And the argument's confusingly similar.
That was the whole monopoly, anti-monopoly, Ralph on Spock versus Parker Brothers and all that back in the day.
Oh yeah,
people were confused. People were confused that a game called not Monopoly, literally the opposite of Monopoly, anti-monopoly. They're not confused. That was another fun book I read, The Monopolist, back in. Oh man, I've read that book 2 or 3 times now. It's really good.
That one's kind of a classic, actually. I mean, in some respects, in this space.
Yeah, well, I've no doubt. I have Ralph Onspock's book called Monopoly Gate, but man, you want to talk about dry as toast? That is it right there. I try to read it. I really want to, but it's almost too detailed, and it's like, but he wrote it himself and all that stuff, and it's got all the legalese in there and stuff. It's like, man, if you'd have taken this and dumbed it down and made the book about half as thick, I think you would have sold probably 10 times, 100 times the copies, because it's an interesting story. But Mary Pollan, who wrote the book, The Monopolist, she did a great job with just breaking it down and making it palatable. You can actually follow along and not get lost in all of it. So anyway, Kirk, how did you get into board gaming?
So I board gamed a bit as a kid. I actually was thinking about it in response to it. And I said, one of the things that was kind of amusing to me is, as a kid, I actually got really annoyed with board games because I found them to be unfair, because they were too random. I didn't like the sort of randomizers of dice and stuff like that. I much preferred games that were, they were more skill oriented or something like that. So I did that. I got out of board games, and then I actually backed into it in sort of the different way. I became a role player. And I'm still sort of a fairly active role player. I played a lot of Shadowrun. That was my big witness. You know what it was? I had a lot of Shadowrun, and I game mastered a lot of Shadowrun. Then I got into CCGs. I actually got into Magic the Gathering very early. Into what it was. I said
that game's 30 years old now?
Yeah, I actually got involved when Dark came out. If you guys know, when the Dark came out, which I think was expansion 5. And some of that, I was in that for years. I still have a huge collection of cards. Yes, anybody does ask, I do have a Black Lotus, and I actually have played with it. I've actually played with it in a deck without a deck protector on it because I've done that game that long.
Oh man, wouldn't do that now.
No, you can't. And so that, and then I actually got into tabletop wargaming. That was the big thing. I started off playing Warhammer Fantasy. Then got into Warhammer 40K and really never looked back. I'm a very, very active Warhammer 40K player. I'm actually one of the organizers of Siege World, one of the local conventions that goes on here. I founded that, since turned it over to other people. So they run it now, but that's in August. We have a big tournament. It's usually over in Collinsville, Illinois, and we run a big, huge, massive apocalyptic game as well. But that was a lot of where I did it. I wasn't really into board games particularly, and then my son got me back into it. And it was COVID that did it. We were looking for things to do, and we had board games, and we ended up discovering, sort of a few more of the cooperative games. Even though it seemed inappropriate during COVID, we became kind of addicted to paranoia. Not paranoia, sorry, pandemic.
It was funny how fast that game sold out.
Yeah.
Like, it was sold out everywhere at the start of the pandemic. Oh man, yeah, we got into Pandemic Rapid Response.
Okay, yeah,
that was one with like the sand timer,
yep.
And you're flying a plane around the. I mean, my son and I played that to death, and I'm like you said, is it appropriate to be playing a pandemic game during the pandemic? But oh man,
and then
Pandemic was great.
Yeah, we got really into the Forbidden series, Forbidden Island, Forbidden Desert, stuff like that. Those were just great games.
Have you played Forbidden Jungle?
No, we haven't. We just realized it came out. We didn't realize there was another one. We were at the store. We're like, wait, there's another one.
Oh God, it is impossible. We have not yet beat it.
Okay.
We had 3 or 4 of us like sitting around like seasoned Forbidden players. And we're like, we're going to beat this. And we're like, we're fighting. And we're like, okay, we're doing right. And then we just lost.
Yeah.
They just
Too bad.
It's over.
Yeah.
We're like 30 minutes in. We're like, we might have it this time, and then just that's it. Boom. Oh, guess we lost that one. Oh man.
We were actually like board gaming. We had basically Monday nights were board game nights, and during COVID, and then my daughter got really upset with board game night because my son always won. And I'm really not kidding. My son's ability to like just think in board game math is disturbing. He just naturally gets games and does exceedingly well at them very, very quickly. And all kinds of games, whatever it is. And he then got into designing them and actually took a couple of some classes locally for summer camps that you can design games. He did one that was one that was sort of a variation on owning a farm. My in-laws are farmers. And so it was one of those, he like went and interviewed my father-in-law and like found out things about it before I made a whole game around it. Trying to get crop prices right and stuff like that. So it was actually pretty cool. He did a big one that was it's octopuses versus sharks. And so it's the whole, how you do something like that. So he sort of got us back into it. My daughter still refuses to play. Like she won't play any. And so it's usually either me and him playing now, which we do every so often, or him and my wife playing. And we kind of have our own different sets. And then we end up with a lot of times we'll take games when we go, like we're going to go out to a brewery or go out, hang out somewhere for for an afternoon. We tend to take a game with us and do it out there, which is a lot of card games just because they're easier to transport. Sure.
Flip 7's the best to take right now.
Yeah.
Flip 7 is so fast, so fun.
We're a little addicted to Trash Pandas. That's the one we almost always take.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Trash Pandas. I mean, it's so funny because like I've been calling them Trash Pandas forever.
Yeah.
And then when I saw the game Trash Pandas, I'm like, ooh, a game about Trash Pandas. And it's actually very fun, lighthearted game. Very, very fun. It actually plays pretty quick too. It's probably perfect to take out to like a brewery or a winery and just sit around and play.
And the great thing about it is it's really easy. It doesn't require a lot of space because you just have basically one die, so it's not hard. You can roll it in the box and then it's just a handful of cards. So it's, easy to deal with. I mean,
that's what we always do. Like when I have multiple dice trays. And for some reason I never have one when I'm playing a game with a lot of dice. And it's always like, where is the dice tray? And so you use the lid. It's like it comes with the game. Why not use it, right?
Yep.
Oh man. So what is your? Go ahead.
And then during COVID, I ended up just kickstarting a lot of games. I got involved in a lot of Kickstarters of games. You got some great ones. Got some mediocre ones. Got some bad ones.
They're not all bangers. They're not all bangers.
Yeah. There's a couple in there though that are kind of like, I was kind of like, hey, these are a few of these are good games. Like they're well designed. They're interesting. Stuff like that they kind of didn't get a whole lot of respect in conjunction with it, but.
I like those games, the ones that just kind of take a chance. And there was one I was stalking on Kickstarter, and it failed the first time, and it was obvious that they just so the game itself, I honestly cannot remember the name of it to save my life, but it was a magnetic loop that was probably about 10 inches like hollow, so 10-inch cube but hollow through the middle, like a loop. And it was a combat game. And so your characters were magnetic and went on all the inside of this thing, and you're shooting at each other with these distances. And I'm like, what a great idea for a game. And you could tell the first shot at it, they were like, they were like, it's $150. I'm like, nobody's going to pay that, And then I kind of lost track of it. And then I found out it they made it and everything. I'm like, man, I missed out on it, but what a crazy idea. And I'm like, that's the kind of stuff you find on Kickstarter that's like, the ones that are like really push the boundary of what design, what you can do with a board game.
One we actually found that we really enjoyed is Don't Go In There. If you know that one, but it's, but you're literally
sounds like a bathroom game.
Well, you're literally kids exploring the haunted house. And you have different rooms. And the point of it is you're trying to find haunted artifacts in the course of doing it. And then you also collect ghosts based upon like how much you use your flashlight and stuff like that. What's cool about it is that the whole point is basically you have to collect as few as possible points worth of the various artifacts. But there's almost always ways to get the artifacts to cancel. So like, if you have 3 of the same kind, you cancel all of them. and like stuff like that. So it's this constant thing where you're trying to collect them, but you're trying to also keep your opponents from collecting the ones they need. But what's kind of cool about it is the box is a dice tower. So, and actually the holder for all the cards is the internals of the dice tower. So
That's
they did a really
awesome.
cool design. You can just use the dice as the box as a dice tower. In the course of
you backed that one? I almost did. Now that I pull it up, it's Road to Infamy.
Okay.
I knew it sounded familiar, and I'm like, why does it sound familiar? Yeah. As soon as you said the Dice Tower box, I pulled it up. Yes. Oh, that game looked like a lot of fun. Glow in the dark
dice.
That's a good
game. You need the expansion though. That's one thing I would say. They did a Kickstarter expansion which gave you some more artifacts, and those are really fun. Like they're actually the better ones to play with, I think.
It's funny how like sometimes that's the case. Like we were just playing one. Oh, I'm gonna get the name wrong. I want to say it's Airline Empire, Airport Empire, something Empire that my son and I played, and it was very Airport Empire. And the game itself was so luck based that it was frustrating because the game, it's there. It's like they just didn't push themselves that next step to make the game better. And then they released an expansion. Then when I was reading about the expansion, I'm like, oh, you just fixed every problem with the game. Like, so frustrating. So yeah, I spent more money and bought the expansion, but it hasn't gotten here yet. But like it was like you said, like sometimes you just have to put the expansion in there to fix some broken problems. Because like Airport Empire was a lot of fun. It was just like I had one bad turn where I got nothing on the roll, and that cost me the entire game. There's no catch up mechanic. There's no any way around it. You have one bad turn and the whole game is lost, and it was very frustrating. But yeah, don't go in there by Road to Infamy. I'll have to see if I can find that, or maybe meet up with you at a brewery or something, and we can play.
That's when we take to the breweries on a regular basis, because it's the dice tower. It's you have the box, so you just dump the dice tower.
I'll tell you, it's the table presence of that too, right? Like it's the that's what my son and I've been playing a lot of these games from the 60s, 70s. That have like this incredible table presence that was just nobody was ready for it back in the 70s. And so I just did a review or a podcast episode on Chopper Strike, and it's so funny because it's so cool because it's the two levels. You have the ground level, that your Jeeps are driving over. Then you have the sky grid that your choppers are flying over.
Yep.
And yet, it plays kind of like chess, kind of like checkers, with some dice. And so you're trying to set up moves and attack the Jeeps and stuff like that. But it's so funny because I bought the copy and it had the JCPenney sticker still on it from 1977. It was $8.88, which if you put it into today's money, that's $50. Yeah. People back in the 70s were going to spend $50 on a board game. Yeah. Now you and I are like, oh, it's only $50. Oh, okay. That's a cheap game. But like, it was just so funny. And then of course the irony was I paid $50 for it, to get it. But yeah, like, oh man. Yeah. Just, the table presence of that game with the sky grid, held like 8 inches up off the other one. It's so fun.
Oh yeah. But and actually that 3D thing is becoming so much more common now. Like it was, back then there's like tabletop miniature games now that are using 3D, and they're trying to sort of get out where, I remember there was one a couple of years ago at Adepticon where they were doing where you were supposed to be like a Matrix type. You were in like inside a computer, and the whole thing behind it was completely 3D because there's no flat surfaces inside a computer. You can be anywhere. And it was one of those things where it was like, okay, that's actually a really intriguing mechanic. It was kind of a fun game to play. At the time, it was overly complicated. I don't think they really got it off the ground, but it was one of those things where I liked the concept.
He's like, you got an idea. Let's keep working on it. Like that's, that's where, I do a lot of game design. I'm being a game designer and game publisher and stuff. And so like, I work with students at the university actually who took a board game design class and taught by a professor, not by me, but I go up there and play test them. And I'm like, this has legs. If you really want to push this forward, I can help you. This has legs. And then some of them I'm like, yay, you made a game. Yay. But it's like, you have to know, well, part of it's just knowing who to go to for answers on how to push your design forward. But yeah, a lot of them you see get so close. Like that Airport Empire was so frustrating because it could have been a good game that just didn't take it to that next step. And then you see the expansion is like, oh, you shouldn't. This should have just been the base game. Like your base game was not great, but this expansion fixes all the problems. So
I mean, even professional companies have that trouble sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it also goes back to the saying that no game's ever going to be done.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you just got to put it out there when it's reached a certain point. But yeah, I mean, even my favorite example, that's Machikoro. The original Machikoro is just broken. But then you throw in like the harbor expansion and all of a sudden it's not broken anymore. And then you play like Machikoro 2, they fix like all the problems of Machikoro. But Machikoro's mechanic is great. It's just the original game by itself, it's pretty broken. So if I made the trek to wherever you are in the St. Louis area, what is your current favorite game? What game's on your table?
So we have a lot of different things sort of, you know, out there. So we actually just got Command of Nature by Unstable Games. We needed to buy deck sleeves for it. They did a discount on deck sleeves. So we just got that game. That's what it was. So that's been what we've been playing through. We're trying to play through playing all the different characters and seeing what they are. That's when I'm actually slightly worried, maybe slightly broken from what we bumped into with it. It seems like 2 of the 4 spellcasters are substantially easier to play and better than the other 2 are. The easier to play guys are also better, which doesn't work.
A double whammy. Yeah.
You know, they seem to be well balanced against each other, but they don't seem to be particularly well balanced against the other 2 characters. But that's one of the ones which is kind of interesting because it's got some real feels of a collectible card game, but it's not. It's entirely, you know, sort of inside the box. There's a deck building aspect, but you build the deck as you play. So it's a thing with that. The big one, I know you sort of said, you know, if there's anything out in our house, it's almost always Marvel Champions.
Yeah.
And because it's just, we have campaigns in process and it's, you know, like right now we had to pack it up because of the fact that things were, but we literally have like, okay, the decks are set up. We got to take on Red Skull here at some point in time, you know, finish out this campaign.
I mean, or the dining room table just doesn't get used for another week, you know?
Well, we had guests coming over and we needed all the chairs. So it was like, okay, we just, you know, we purposely put the decks away. We made sure we knew where everything was. Everything's in order, you know, so all the, you know, prepared decks are all stored, which is also one of the things. My son's kind of a bit of an organizer. And so he loves to put like the card games into card boxes. So we have way too much Marvel Champions, just is the thing. We have, I think it's all the first 5 waves, everything in it. Wow. And we're still getting some of the later stuff. We're up to 9 waves now, but we're still sort of acquiring some of the later stuff. But, you know, because he just loves playing the game, and I enjoy playing with him. It's a fun game to play with him. We pretty much only play it as 2 players. We really haven't done it because nobody else is willing to learn all the mechanics because it is kind of complicated. But that's the game that always seems to be out. And like I said, it's been Command of Nature is the other one that we've had a lot. If it's my wife and my son, it's Mystic Market.
Mystic Market.
Yeah, if you haven't played it, that's a game I'd recommend. That's another beautiful table presence game. But basically it's all about the you have various, you know, alchemical ingredients of various different you know, rarities that you could try to manufacture things of, and when you have them, you're trying to trade them at market prices. But it's got an actual stock market mechanic. So as soon as you sell something, it drops to the lowest price it can be. So,
I played that one with the little
vials, yeah,
vials that roll down. Yeah. Oh yes,
and my wife loves that game.
and you're right; it's 100% table presence behind it too, because they have these beautiful vials that are plastic, and they roll down as you manipulate the market. No, I've played that one. I always forget that's what it's called. Yeah. I always want to think it has something to do with potions or something. I always think it's like Potion Panic, but it's not. Yeah.
And that's why a market mechanic is such a sort of fascinating thing in the way you play the game plays, because you're trying to get something valuable, and then suddenly the player in front of you nails you. You know, and it's like, oh God, I'm stuck. What do I do with all this stuff? But then you can also burn them to buy stuff that's beneficial. And that's where my son's really good at. He surprises you at the end. Like he has no score. And then suddenly he gets rid of his entire hand, all of his stuff, and gets, 5,000 points. And you're like, okay, now I lose by 10 to 1.
Well, so along that line, have you ever played Harbor? The old TMG game.
I have not. I know the name, but I've never played it.
Man. So it's an incredible market manipulation game too, where like you're trying to get the different things that they're shipping out of the harbor. So like cows or wood or whatever. And then as you sell them, they become less valuable. And then as So then they slide down, everything slides up, and you can manipulate the market to make what you have worth more money. And oh yeah. But yeah, I forgot totally about Mystic. I always forget about Mystic Market because I never get the name right. So, but no, that's a fun one. I do like that one. Do you play games at lunch with your coworker?
We don't, for the most part. And it's actually bad. I don't play board games. I play video games. Standard phone video games, the little dorky ones. I play too much Wordle and too much Connections on New York Times. That's the basics.
Oh man, today's Wordle was rough.
Yeah, I got it in 6. It was the
yeah, I got it in 6. It was like, well, this is it. Well, it's either Mafia or I lose.
About a month ago, I realized I really could no longer stand playing on regular, so I only play on hard mode now.
I only play on hard mode as well, but I think it makes you a better player.
I find that I do better with it, but the other thing that I bump into is I really hate the ones where I have, there's 5 letters and 5 words it could be.
Yes.
Because there's no way for me to simplify it at that stage. And I'm like, it's just random guessing. And those are the ones that annoy me.
Yeah. Where you really need that throwaway word so that you can try to put 1 or 2 of those letters where they go and then go from there. Yeah.
Or just get rid of, it's okay. The last letter can be one of 5 things. And if I just need a word with those 5 letters in it so I can figure out which one of them it is.
Yeah. Well, that was today, like with Mafia, I was all the way down to the end and I had M-A blank I blank. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden it hit me like, hey, it could be, I wonder, like Mario, like, I'm like, oh, wait, it won't be Mario because that's a proper noun, so that won't be it. But I forgot about it could be a double A with an A at the end, but what's M-A blank I-A? I'm like, oh, Mafia. And I was like, well, here we go. And I hit submit and I was like, yeah.
I was doing it. I got down to the thing and I almost, my third guess, I think I had the A, I had an A and I had an M somewhere. I think it was the one I had with it, but I figured the M was the starting and I almost put in Maxim, but I'm like,
that was my fifth.
I and the M.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can check because there's no chance there's an accident unless I get it right. And had I put Maxim in, I would have gotten it in 4 because it was only the only thing that was left afterwards was Mafia.
It's funny because it's funny you say Maxim because that was my 5th guess and leaving me only Mafia. And then my wife, that was her 6th guess was Maxim and she lost at that point. But it was funny because it's funny because Maxim is not a word but also I feel like Wordle, you get you're like, oh, it's this, and then it's not. You think, oh, Maxim, that's a great word for Wordle. Oh, it's not Maxim. Okay.
Well, the thing that I get so annoyed at is I always check the Connections bot because I'm just curious as to what it picks and things like that. Other than the fact that it cheats ruthlessly, I'm 100% convinced of that. But because it will guess word 1, it'll guess the same word it guessed yesterday, but then word 2 is somehow completely different, so it can get it in 3. And it's like there's no way it knows what to guess word 2, and it has exactly the same information. And it's like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. But it's one of those things where I had to do it. And what I find with it is it's doing how you did on your skill score, and it's like, oh, that was a good one to eliminate some words. But, you didn't eliminate as many as had you have chosen this one. And I was like, but I didn't realize that was a word that I could have used.
There was that one a couple days ago or last week that was like a French word. And I'm like, I've never even heard that word in my life. I know what you mean. And I'm like, what? And I only got it because yeah. And I'm like, I only got it because it was the only thing it could possibly be at that point. And I'm like, this is dumb. Is this even a word? And it's the right one. I'm like, okay.
And then occasionally I'll get that with the Connections bot where it's like, oh, that's a word that isn't available for selection. And I'm like, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And so, yeah.
Well, how do you pronounce Klaus Teuber's game? The Settlers of
Catan.
Yes.
Now I have to admit, I played it all of once.
Oh man, no, that's really kind of what got me really back in and addicted to this this hobby is that game because I was an avid Risk, Axis and Allies, all the old Parker Brothers, Milton Bradley, all that stuff, and so Catan, man, when I played that, I'm like, whoa. Well, I remember games are way different.
When they were starting to do it, and there's that and there's Carcassonne were the two that were right together. And I played Carcassonne and played a lot of Carcassonne, but that was I was going to get one or the other, and I got Carcassonne. and went
Yeah,
the other
I've got
direction.
plenty of that as well. I've even ordered random stuff from sites in Germany and had to Google and had to translate myself the rules for their random expansions.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, I'm a big Carcassonne fan, which was also a huge inspiration for Fences. Which is funny because Fences actually started off being a stained glass window game, and it was not coming together right. And then my business partner was like, we were playing a ton of Carcassonne at the time, and he always noticed that the game kind of comes down to who has the majority of the fields.
Yep.
And so he's like, what if you made a whole game about the fields? And so that's where we restructured the game, and he remathed it out, making it with farm animals, and now we have fences instead of some headache inducing stained glass window game that would not even be close to standing up to Sagrada. So what about when you have a color? Do you have a certain color you like to play with?
Oh, I'm always green.
Green.
Always
I can
green.
See that.
So assuming I can be green. It's actually funny because our family's always the same way. So my son's always red. I'm always green. My wife's always yellow.
Well, hey, there you go. No fighting. So if you were to play games at lunch, what would be your go-to 30-minute lunch half hour?
So I definitely mentioned Trash Pandas. We do Trash Pandas a lot when we do it. The other one, and it's the game we love, is whatever it is Happy Little Dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's hilarious.
It's such a silly little game.
The other one we actually play a lot, in conjunction with it is, and admittedly, the way we play it tends to not be a 30-minute game, is Exploding Kittens.
Oh, well,
But
yeah.
the way we play it with my son doing it, we play with all of the expansions all the time. So we have a deck of about 300 cards.
Well, it's like, I mean, that could take a while to find all the explosions.
It does. It takes a long time to play, but it's kind of crazy because once the Imploding Kitten shows up, everything starts going wonky.
I've never played with the Imploding Kitten.
Oh, you have to play with the Imploding Kitten. The Imploding Kitten's the best one.
I played Exploding Kittens a handful of times, a couple of the expansions, but never the Imploding Kitten.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one of those that the game's great. I love the game. It's super fun to do as the game goes. But I think the Imploding Kitten just alters the mechanic in such an awful way that it completely works.
I mean, you might as well go all the way over the top. Oh, man. What about a 60-minute game, a full lunch hour?
We don't really have a lot of, and again, we're probably going to end up with Marvel Champions. If we have any kind of time, that's probably what we're going to end up with. And especially right now, we just reorganized all of our games, got rid of a lot of the ones we weren't playing, a lot of the ones that like kids games that, it's, hey, we still have, Yeti and my spaghetti, like running around. My kids are in high school, and it's like, I was like, okay, we need to get rid of some of these, and we kept them around because they had younger cousins. Even them aren't sort of doing them anymore. And so we realized we had a bunch we haven't even opened yet. Like we just realized we had some, we have one of the like packs of Villainous we hadn't opened yet.
No comment.
Stuff like that. We're like, hey, we need to get into some of these and like figure out. So my son basically pulled all the ones we hadn't gotten into that he thought looked interesting, and we're going to try to get into those here sometime.
Yeah, I'm in my dungeon, my attic. I'm not in a dungeon. I'm in an attic. But my Shelf of Shame is just off screen here, and it is massive. And we've gotten rid of a lot of games that were just on there that we bought at one time. We didn't get it played when we bought it, and now we just not interested in it.
Yeah.
Couple weird Kickstarters that have shown up, and I'm like, oh, I forgot I backed this one. Like I have one called Backyard Chickens.
Oh, I remember that. I remember seeing that one. Yeah.
It's still wrapped. It made the cut. We kept it.
Do you have cheese dice?
Cheese dice.
The one that's literally like there are wedges of cheese and you roll them as dice, and it's kind of like if you remember, was it Roll the Pigs, the one where it was how the pigs landed?
Oh yeah,
and
Pass the
it's
Pigs.
the same basic idea as that game. But they did like a whole bunch of like collector's versions and things like that. It's a little tiny tin you can get, but it's kind of the same, like kind of silly, amusing game.
No, my one of the local game designers here, he just did one called Sharp Cheddar, which is the dice are cheese, but the pips are not where you expect them to be.
Okay.
And one may have no pips, one may have 7 pips, and so you throw them. You're trying to race to count the pips.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I have. Not the other one. So, but so what about a hidden gem game? I know you were talking earlier about But this is the question that gets me in so much trouble. That's actually half of probably the shelf of shame. Where you guys, you pesky guests that always have like these games that sound incredible that I have to go find, and then I don't get around to playing them.
So I had one. I did actually manage to find it a couple of years ago. I found a copy of it on eBay. You said you were just playing 1970s games.
Yeah.
So this is from the 1970s game called Whodunit.
Oh, that's on my list. Oh wait, no, I have that one. But the one. I'm pretty sure I have that
the original 1972 version. There's an 1980s reprint, but the 72 version is the original.
I think I have that one.
And I remember I played that somewhere. I don't remember where it was years ago. And I'd searched around to find it. I found a copy on eBay. Probably it was around the beginning of COVID. You know, you can usually find them on eBay. Like that's the thing with it. But the way I always describe Whodunit is it's Clue with an attitude. Like that's the
one with like the front door. And like you have to like travel around. And,
it's very, very similar to Clue in the idea that you're going around just searching for murder weapons as to whatever it is, but it's a little more ruthless in the way that it plays, and it's a little harder to. I would say the guessing is more straightforward than it is in Clue, but it's also in some sense it's harder. You definitely have to have the one hard part with it is it comes with a pad, and you have to have the pad. Because there's no other way to keep track of the stuff, and like they made the pad really useful to do it. But of course, it's a 1970s game, so you know I'm usually committing copyright infringement and photocopying the pad because I'm going to run out of sheets. Otherwise.
It's probably out of it's fine. It's only if you get caught.
Exactly, but yeah, it was a game that for years we got it. We played quite a bit of it. We haven't played it in a while, but that was one that I was always searching for behind it. Another one which I know I can get at some point in time, but it's more finding people to play it with. Was years ago I played Encore, and it was actually at a corporate retreat. And Encore is one of those games that it's best with a group of 30 people.
Oh, geez.
So it's the basic premise of it is they give you a word, and you have two teams, and you have to, or however many teams you want. We always did it with two, and that's why you have like great with big numbers of people. And you have to sing at least 5 words of a song that includes that word in a recognizable way. So people have to be able to figure out what the song is. And you can sing more than that if it's necessary to like make people figure out what the song is.
If you're not a good singer.
Yeah. Stuff like that. And you can sing poorly, like that's half the fun. But it's one of these, we did it kind of as a team building thing at a corporate retreat. And this is 30 years ago. And it was just such a fun thing to do in that because it gets so stupid. And you're trying to come up with songs. That's what it is. And you realize like how many songs include the word. And the one that I will never forget when you start thinking about it, if you want to like something to rack your brain with tonight, realize how many songs have the word Chevy in it.
Chevy, like the car,
the car. Yeah. So, like, you know, the one that we always know is, you know, bye bye, Miss American Pie, drove my Chevy to the levee.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. And
so immediately came to my mind.
There's all these songs that have the word Chevy in it. And then we ended up with the one of them where we did it, where the word was snow. After 15 minutes, we all stopped with Christmas carols. We literally banned Christmas carols at that point in time. We're like, this is taking too long. But it's one of those where that was a game that I really enjoyed playing, but I really found the part of the enjoyment of it is when you're playing with a big group, because you're all trying to come up with songs. And so you can have, you know, multiple people trying to come up with songs. It's not like just you doing it, stuff like that. And a lot of times it's, okay, I have one. You're having 4 people who have songs and you're comparing it to whether you have the same ones or not. And the other side's like, we don't have any, like we have one. And so we're like, okay, we're just going to give up, you know, let's move on to the next word. But yeah, that was another one that I kind of like had. And it's not so much on finding the game. It's easy to get copies of it. It's finding people to play it with.
Yeah. Sometimes that is the harder thing to do.
Yep.
Trying to find the people that's like what, I mean, unfortunately, that's what a lot of the ones on my shelf of shame are, is just because it just couldn't find somebody to play it with.
Yeah.
You know, man, I'm trying to find I swear I have Whodunit, but it's not the one I'm finding. Oh, well, I'll figure it out later. But Encore sounds interesting, but I never have a group of, you know, much more than about.
Yeah.
6.
You could play it with just 4 people. I suspect it'd probably be fine, but it's just when we played it in a huge group, it was really fun. That was the thing that really surprised me. And I think it was much more fun to play in a big group than it ever would be in a small group.
Oh, it's from Endless Games. They did a whole bunch of games it was pre-pandemic, so like 8 years ago. They just did a humongous drop of tons of like really fun party style games that I wouldn't normally have played, but they just did this huge drop. And I was a member of a group that had a bunch of them for us to play with, and they were a lot of fun. And Encore, I don't know if that was one of them or not, but as soon as I pulled up the box, I was like, yep, yep, that's a good one. So do you have a Grail game, a game you're still searching for that you haven't found yet?
Not really. I mean, it's the kind of things I'm always intrigued by people who come up with new games and new concepts. I mean, I'm always checking out games on Kickstarter, looking for something. We just got Quest Snakes. I just bought that one that just came out, which is okay. It's sort of, I'm not thrilled with it. It's kind of neat, but there is a luck mechanic in it that's kind of annoying. Because there's a card bidding process at the front. What we realized is you can realize at times that you've completely lost the card bidding mechanic. And if you lost the card bidding mechanic, you may as well not bother playing the game because it's obvious who's going to win.
That's unfortunate. I mean, it's unfortunate that, well, it's funny. So like I told you, I play tested some games for some students and stuff like that. And I was playing this game and I was like, oh, this is going to be easy to break. I'll just do this and it'll break. And it didn't. And I was like, well, that's weird. So I was like, oh, I'll break it this way. And it didn't break that way either. I was like, dang, maybe this game's better than I thought. And then about turn 4 or 5, I was like, oh, nope, it's broken. And like all the students I was with, they were like, what? I'm like, no, look at it. No matter what happens from here on out, you will never complete the game. Well, no, you could do. Oh. Well, how about and so I was like, yep, you need some other mechanic in there, otherwise you're never gonna. It's like a game where like you're like a snake trying to make it through this path, but yet gnomes are throwing rocks at you, and once you build so many of these gnomes, there's no way to get through. And but like I thought, I'll just not buy anything the first round and then sprint through on the second round, and that didn't work. And I was like, I'll just buy a whole bunch of snakes. Well, that didn't work. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Once you have so many gnomes in there, there's no way to get through it.
Okay.
So that was an interesting, game that it's like you guys need another mechanic to make this.
That's an easy fix, though. I mean, in many respects.
Yeah. Well, that's why it says like you need some way like the snakes attack the gnomes, or the gnomes have a cooldown round or something where you can send cannon fodder out there to take all the hits, and then a cooldown round allows my sprinting snake to get through. And they're like, oh, like there's tons of mechanics. You got, I get it. You guys are, not board gamers. You're artists. Like this was an art class, a studio art class, and it was all about like art. And they had to come up with a game and to kind of work on and stuff with their art. And it's been fun working with these students because they have like a lot of them aren't huge board gamers, and so they have like I said, they have a game that's like got legs that I think they've accidentally stumbled upon a good game idea that I'm like, you could really push this. Like one of them is very simple, and I'm like, it's kind of like King of Tokyo, but different. And I think if you kind of lean into a different mechanic to add to on top of this game, then I think you've actually got something here. And they're like, well, like what? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just telling you need something else. And they're like, how about an auction mechanic? And they're like, oh, so we're meeting next week to look at their latest at lunch. I try to meet up with them once a month. I buy pizza. They show up. We play a game, talk about it. Nothing wrong with some pizza. Pizza and board gaming, never a bad thing.
Pizza always goes to the game, as does Mountain Dew.
Yeah, absolutely. I prefer Dr. Pepper, but whatever. So Kickstarter, you already said you're a backer. Do you remember what the first game was you backed?
Game I backed. It's hard. So I know the first thing I backed on Kickstarter, and it was a long time ago. I got involved with Kickstarter very, very early on because of online comics. I was getting the Dead Tree versions of online comics. That's what got me started. And then I'm trying to think like what would have been the earliest games that I was involved in. And I mean, I literally don't remember. I probably bought 100 games off of Kickstarter. My joke with it is how many games I'm in because of Kickstarter. So, when people do the Kickstarter levels, that Fence was maybe one of them, and that you actually have the idea that you could, get a custom thing with it. I think I'm in there potentially as a farmer, if I remember correctly. I
was trying to find if you were. I was like, I think you are, but I don't know if I have the whole deck of cards up here with me.
I think I'm a farmer as to what it is. But I'm in a few of them. I'm in one of my favorite ones that I remember doing, if Pass the Buck, which was Happy Badger.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Carol.
yeah.
Yeah. So she, before she went to Exploding Kittens, she was at Happy. She had Happy Badger. She did a game which was basically like you were trying to essentially avoid work, and it was all these like crazy work things. So there's a card in the game which is patent the boss's DNA to enforce the anti-nepotism policy. Which is my creation. She actually let us create a game in conjunction. That's the game I put in, and she's like, "That's perfect. We're not changing it."
Nice. Actually, I think I did find you. I think you were Hog Razor Kirk.
That sounds right. Yeah, because I tend to be. That's me. Yep, that's me. I tend to, whenever I do it, I tend to be associated with pigs. That's one of the things that I almost always do in conjunction with my characters, or something other disreputable. So I'm in a survivalist game where you have to like pick which survivalist you want to go into the bunker with. I'm the used car salesman.
There you go. Heck yeah. Well, that's like in Vince's, I'm stall cleaner. I'm stall cleaner Collins. And my business partner was like, why did you have to be the stall cleaner? And I'm like, well, somebody's got to clean up after all these animals. It's like, but did it have to be the publisher of the game? I'm like, nobody else took that role.
So yeah, I've done one of my favorite ones they actually did where they put people in the game was a game called, I think it's called Beer Hall, if I remember rightly what it is. It's beer something with spelled the German way, BIER. And it's a tile game where you're basically building kind of an Oktoberfest party. And it has to do with where people are and stuff like that around. Yeah, it looks like you may have it. Yep, that's Beer Garden. That's it. Yep, yeah. Beer Garden. So I'm in Beer Garden. See if you can find me in Beer Garden. I'm one of the guys in Beer Garden.
I don't think I'll be able to find you in there, man. There's so many.
But yeah, I have an infamous habit of whenever people do the sort of levels of, where you can be in the game or in the thing. I do it in online comic strips too. So one of the big online comic strips I did, and actually one that got me involved in Kickstarter, was a comic strip called Multiplex. The guy was in Chicago. I ended up sort of getting to know him pretty well, but it's the story of a multiplex where you're it's all the staff putting on the movies and stuff like that. And he was always doing things to raise money. And one of the things that the staff did is they decided to make their own zombie movie. So they were actually filming after hours in the comic strip, and he put out a call, and he was basically like, anybody who's willing to put money in, you can be a zombie in the zombie movie. And the more money you're willing to put at the different levels, the more heinous they'll kill you.
That's a great marketing campaign right there.
So I am a zombie in it. I am impaled by them picking up and stabbing me with one of the velvet rope holders.
Yeah. To look into that multiplex. That
he hasn't done it for years. He stopped making it years ago, but I thought it was an incredibly good comic strip when he did it. He just had a kind of wry sense of humor and was really good at it. I would regularly pick on him because he was from Chicago, me being from St. Louis. So he would do like, hey, I do a custom strip. So I forced him to do a custom strip on the Cubs versus Cardinals, and the Cardinals had to win. So stuff like that is sort of a joke. He did it as an inside joke of there was a fantasy movie theater thing you could do for a while.
There was,
and he did it as a joke with that, where people did, the two people were talking about their fantasy baseball teams. Then he had the head of the multiplex come in, and he's like, "I don't understand any of this baseball stuff." And then he's like, "Yeah, but how many screens are you putting salt on this weekend?"
There was that. I remember that. Gosh, my roommate in college, we were playing it, and we did like head to head against each other, who could like do the best. And I remember because there was all kinds of weird stipulations around that fantasy movie theater, and it had to have a box office in like the top 25 of the weekend.
Yeah.
And they gave you the per screen average is what you made. Well, he did this one random movie that was only like 3 screens in the country, but it did so much money per screen that he jumped so far ahead of me. Like I was never going to catch him because I want to say it was some stupid like Super Sucker, that one about Jeff Daniels, I think it was, selling the vacuum cleaner or something like that. But it was like number 23, barely made the cutoff. And boom. Yeah. And oh my gosh. I forgot totally about that website. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, so that's one of the big things I just do on Kickstarter a lot. So I'm in all sorts of games. I love getting like the kind of crazy versions of games when they do like the stuff with it where it's okay, here's the collectible version, with the strange cards that are, done with things like that. So all sorts of crazy. Those are the things that I tend to find that it's super, super fun about it. But yeah, I joke about it, as I said, is if you want to end me, for me to support your Kickstarter, have something that'll end up in your game is somewhere random.
Yeah. Well, I even told that to a Geekway about a month ago now. There were some designers there. They were working on this game, and they were selling like if you give us some money, we'll give you a special card. And I'm like, well, have you thought about just selling the card as a whole? And like people will pay money to be drawn into a game. Like, that's basically how Fences got funded so easily. And they were like, no. I'm like, well, how many characters do you have? And I don't remember all the numbers, but I'm like, think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. So Kirk, I want to thank you for being on the show today. How can people find your podcast?
So if you search Lawyer's Guide to the Galaxy, you should find it basically on any kind of your favorite podcast sites. We're on basically all of them. We're on YouTube, but our YouTube is not up to date. And it's because we don't record video in conjunction with, so we're having to add video, and we lost the summer intern who was helping us do it. So we ended up as sort of last year, we fell back behind. So we're 7 or 8 episodes behind in conjunction with what's on YouTube. So if you watch on YouTube, you'll be way behind and not get the recent episodes. But yeah, we're on all the podcast sites. It's usually relatively easy to find. I think you can still go to lggpodcast.com. I think is where we are. We used to have a landing page, but that had some problems too because of our hosting agreement got inadvertently messed up was the problem. And so it went down. And I'm not sure we ever got it completely back up. But yeah, you can usually find us. And yeah, it's like I said, we talk about geek topics. We are a bit random in our time. So we range anywhere from about 35 minutes to an hour, depending on what we talk about. And like I said, we range everywhere from ones that actually involve law and geek topics all the way to stuff that just is, we literally did a whole the most recent episode we did is, can you actually make decent Star Wars content anymore? And that's the question, sort of, that was our question around Mandalorian. And then we did one on Mandalorian versus, or I always call it Mandalorian versus Grogu because I think it's funnier, but Mandalorian and Grogu, and basically just a cold read on what our take of it was. And we were sort of, we were both ended up as the same thing as we said. It's all plot, no story. But we all ended up sort of liking it. But yeah, you can usually find us there. You can also find me on LinkedIn and actually talk about our podcast quite a bit on LinkedIn. So if you find me, you'll probably find that.
Sure, and we'll have all those links in the show notes as well. So, like I said, thanks again for being on the show. Really appreciate it. And as usual, you guys, so you never know what you're going to find. Like an IP lawyer that wants to talk about board games. I'm like, heck yeah, why not? So as usual, guys, reach out to us at eatlunchandboardgame.com, facebook.com/eatlunchandboardgame. You can always email us, eatlunchandboardgame@gmail.com. And remember, board games build bridges.